1. Imagine you have two people, John and Peter. John and Peter have very different lives, and it all starts with the way they think. John, for example, believes that life is full of opportunities. When he faces a problem, he quickly thinks, how can I solve this and learn something new? He doesn't give up easily and is always looking to improve, learning new things and trying out new ideas. Peter, on the other hand, thinks that nothing will ever change. When he encounters a problem, he thinks, oh, this isn't for me. There's no way to improve it. He stays stuck, afraid to try something different, and ends up always in the same place. This difference in thinking is like a magical key that opens different doors in life. John, who believes in himself and isn't afraid to try, ends up finding many opportunities and growing in life. Meanwhile, Peter, who doesn't believe things can get better, ends up with the same difficulties repeatedly. So, what makes someone successful isn't just how much they have in the bank or the things they buy, but rather the way they think and act every day. It's as if John has a flashlight that lights up his path, while Peter walks in the dark. John's flashlight is his positive mindset, guiding him toward a better future. 2. Now, let's talk about Mary and Robert. Mary is someone who actually has a lot of money, but you would never know just by looking at her. Why? Because Mary doesn't feel the need to show off that she's wealthy. Meanwhile, Robert, who also has money, loves buying expensive things to impress others. He always wants the fanciest car, the most expensive clothes, and exotic vacations just to post on social media and make people think he's super rich. But here's the secret. Mary prefers to use her money differently. Instead of spending on things to show off, she invests in what truly matters to her. She buys stocks in companies, invests in real estate, and saves a good portion for emergencies. Because of this, Mary enjoys a lot of freedom. She doesn't worry about maintaining an image, doesn't feel the need to prove anything to anyone, and lives peacefully knowing her money is growing and securing her future. On the other hand, Robert ends up spending so much to keep up appearances that he sometimes runs out of money for what really matters. This brings a lot of stress into his life. So, while Robert is always trying to impress others, Mary prefers to be discreet, keeping her wealth a secret and enjoying the peace of mind that comes with it. And you know what's even better? In the end, Mary ends up being much happier and more secure than Robert. 3. Let's meet Luke and Anna. Both Luke and Anna work hard to earn their money, but what they do with it is very different. Luke, when he gets his paycheck, tends to spend it all. He buys clothes, goes to expensive restaurants, and always keeps up with the latest trends. He thinks, I worked hard, so I deserve to spend it all now. Anna, on the other hand, has a different strategy. When she gets her paycheck, the first thing she does is set aside a portion to save and invest. She thinks, if I save and invest this money, it can grow and help me in the future. So, what is investing? Investing is like planting a little seed. When you plant a seed, it can grow into a big, strong tree over time, bearing fruit. Anna's money is like that seed. She puts part of it into things that can grow, like stocks or a savings account that earns a bit of interest. Over time, her money grows, just like a tree that gets bigger and bigger. Luke, on the other hand, didn't plant any seeds. He just spent the money, and by the end of the month, he needs to start all over again without anything saved. After a few years, Anna realizes that by investing, she has much more money than before, even without working harder. Meanwhile, Luke is still in the same place, starting from scratch each month. So, the big secret Anna discovered is that investing part of what you earn can make your money grow on its own, helping you to have more security and peace of mind in the future. And it all starts with the decision to save and plant that little seed today. Enjoying the video? Give it a thumbs up and hit the like button. Your support helps us create more content to help you achieve financial success. 4. Let's imagine two people, Felipe and Laura. They both earn the same salary every month, but by the end of the month, their situations are quite different. Let's see why. Felipe doesn't worry much about what he spends. He goes to the mall, buys whatever he likes, eats out several times a week, and buys things on a whim without much thought. By the end of the month, he often doesn't know where all his money went and sometimes ends up in the red, having to borrow money. Laura, on the other hand, does things differently. She pays close attention to how she uses her money. Every month, she makes a list of how much she needs for essential things, like food, bills, and transportation. She also sets aside some money for fun, but she always knows exactly how much she can spend. Laura loves the 50-30-20 rule. She uses 50% of her salary for needs, like rent and groceries. Then, she sets aside 30% for wants, like going out or buying herself a treat. And the remaining 20%? She saves and invests, thinking about the future. Because Laura keeps a close eye on her spending, she never runs out of money at the end of the month. In fact, she manages to save a little each month and still enjoys life. She knows every cent counts, and by taking good care of her money, she makes it work for her. Felipe, on the other hand, ends up spending more than he should because he doesn't pay attention. This means he's always worried and never manages to save money. So, what does Laura's story teach us? Taking care of your money, knowing exactly where it goes, and avoiding waste is like having a superpower. It helps you live better today and ensures a more secure and peaceful future. 5. Let's talk about the story of Paul and Renata. They both managed to save up some money, but they chose to use it in very different ways. Paul, all excited, decided to buy a brand new, super modern car. He loved driving around in that flashy vehicle, which drew everyone's attention. But over time, he noticed that the car, in addition to needing maintenance and fuel, was losing value. Each year, the car was worth less than the year before. Paul ended up spending a lot on the car, and in the end, he had less money than when he started. Renata, on the other hand, made a different choice. Instead of buying an expensive car, she decided to invest in something called assets. What are assets? Well, they are things that don't lose value over time, but rather increase in value, and can even generate money for you. Renata invested in an apartment that she rents out to others. Every month, she receives rental income, and on top of that, the apartment's value may go up over time. She also bought shares in some companies, which are like tiny pieces of those companies. As the companies grow and make more money, Renata's shares also become more valuable. So, while Paul's car was getting old and losing value, Renata's investments were growing. She not only managed to save more money, but also created new sources of income. The big lesson here is that instead of spending your money on things that lose value over time, like cars or expensive gadgets, it's better to invest in assets. These investments help your money grow, generating more money and ensuring a much more secure and comfortable financial future. Have thoughts or questions about the video? Drop a comment below and let us know. We love hearing from you, and we'll do our best to respond to every comment. 6. Let's meet Gabriel and Sophia. They are friends, and one day, both received some extra money. Gabriel was super excited and immediately spent it all on things he had wanted for a long time. A new video game, trendy clothes, and a fancy dinner. He had a great time, but soon after, he realized the money was gone, and he had nothing saved up. Sophia, on the other hand, had a different idea. She also wanted to spend the money, but decided to wait a bit. Instead of buying everything right away, she saved the money and thought, what if I invest and let this money grow first? So, she put the money into an investment and let time work its magic. A few years later, Sophia's money had grown a lot. With the returns, she could buy not only what she had wanted before, but also much more. Meanwhile, Gabriel realized that if he had waited a little, he could have done the same as Sophia. The secret Sophia discovered is the power of delaying gratification. Instead of seeking immediate rewards, she waited and let her money work and grow. This habit of waiting and investing first is like planting a tree. The longer you wait, the more fruit it bears. In the end, Gabriel learned from Sophia that by delaying a small reward today, you can have a much bigger reward in the future. This practice is one of the great secrets to building wealth over time. It's as if Sophia had a magical machine that multiplies her money just because she knew how to wait. 7. Let's explore the story of John and Marina. They both started with the same opportunities, but made different choices throughout their lives. John, after finishing school, thought he knew enough. He said to himself, I've learned everything I need to, so I'll just work and go on with my life. He started working and stopped studying. When new challenges arose at work, he often felt lost because things were changing quickly, and he wasn't keeping up. Marina, on the other hand, had a different outlook. She believed it's never too late to learn something new. Even after finishing school, Marina kept seeking knowledge. She read books, watched educational videos, took online courses, and stayed updated on the latest in her field. Over time, Marina noticed that her constant learning helped her see opportunities others didn't. At work, she was recognized for her fresh and creative ideas, which led to several promotions. The knowledge she continually pursued opened doors to new projects and chances to earn more money. Meanwhile, John remained in the same position, without many changes. He realized that if he had continued learning like Marina, he might have had more opportunities. The big lesson here is that we should never stop learning. Continuous education is like a key that opens doors to success and new opportunities. The more you learn, the more prepared you are for life's challenges, and the more chances you have to grow and thrive. Marina understood that knowledge is the greatest investment a person can make, and it made all the difference in her future. 8. Let's imagine the story of Tiago and Carla. They both have their savings, but they use them in very different ways. Tiago, whenever he gets some extra money, likes to spend it on things he feels he needs right away. He buys new clothes, takes trips, and uses his money to enjoy life. But when something unexpected happens, like a medical emergency or a car problem, he gets very stressed because he doesn't have any money saved for these situations. Carla, on the other hand, has a different approach. She chooses to save and invest a portion of her money to build an emergency fund. She doesn't spend all of her earnings immediately. Instead, she puts some of it into a special account just for emergencies. That way, if something unexpected occurs, like a medical bill or an urgent need, Carla has the money to handle the situation without being overwhelmed. One day, Tiago faces a major car problem and needs an expensive repair. Without any savings, he has to take out a loan and pay high interest. He becomes very worried and stressed, and the situation ends up complicating his financial life. Meanwhile, Carla receives an unexpected medical bill. But since she has an emergency fund, she can pay the bill calmly, without worrying about how to cover the expense. She knows she has money set aside for such situations and can handle the unexpected smoothly. The lesson Carla teaches is that having financial protection, or an emergency fund, is crucial. Saving money for emergencies helps protect you from unforeseen problems and minimizes the impact of unexpected issues. It provides security and peace of mind, knowing you're prepared to handle any situation that comes your way. 9. Let's meet Ricardo and Julia. They both have the same amount of money to manage, but they use different methods for handling their finances. Ricardo doesn't have a clear plan for his money. He spends some on things he enjoys, like dining out and buying gadgets, but he doesn't worry much about budgeting for savings or investments. By the end of the month, he realizes he has spent more than he should have and has no money left to save or invest. He becomes concerned because he doesn't know how he's going to save for the future. Julia, on the other hand, uses a technique called the 50-30-20 rule to manage her finances. She divides her money as follows. 1. 50% for needs. Julia uses half of her money to cover essential expenses, like rent, utility bills, and food. These are the necessary costs for living comfortably. 2. 30% for wants. With 30% of her money, Julia can spend on things she enjoys, like going to the movies, dining out, and buying something special. This is the money for fun and pleasure. 3. 20% for savings and investments. Finally, Julia reserves 20% of her money for savings and investments. She puts this money into a savings account or other investments, which helps build an emergency fund and a more secure future. If Julia's income is lower, she adjusts these numbers. For example, she might need to spend 70% on needs and 10% on savings. But the key is always setting aside some money for saving and investing. Over time, this financial discipline helps Julia build a reserve for emergencies and grow her wealth. She manages to balance her expenses and still prepare for the future without struggling at the end of the month. Ricardo realizes that if he had followed a rule like Julia's, he could have saved and invested more. He learns that having financial discipline, with a clear plan for your money, is essential for ensuring a healthy and peaceful financial life. Enjoyed the video and want more tips on financial success? Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated with all our latest content. Don't miss out on our upcoming videos and keep progressing on your path to prosperity. 10. Let's talk about the story of Fernanda and Bruno. Both have some extra money they're thinking of using, but they make different choices considering the future. Fernanda and Bruno went to the mall and found something they both wanted: a new cell phone. Bruno, excited, decides to buy the phone immediately without thinking much about the future. He imagines he'll have a lot of fun with the new device, but doesn't consider the long-term impact of this purchase. He spends his extra savings and ends up with no money left. Fernanda, on the other hand, takes a bit more time to think about her decision. She knows a cell phone is something that can wait and decides to consider the long-term effects of this purchase. She asks herself, if I spend this money now, what will happen to my savings and future plans? Fernanda decides not to buy the phone right away and instead puts the money into an investment that can grow over time. A few years later, Bruno's new phone is outdated, and he realizes that if he had saved and invested the money, he could have accumulated a significant amount. He feels stressed because he now needs more money to achieve his future goals and finds himself a bit tight on funds. Fernanda, on the other hand, sees that her investment has grown and brought good returns. Over time, she has built a solid financial foundation, helping her achieve her goals and dreams, like buying a house or traveling. What Fernanda teaches us is that thinking long-term when making financial decisions is crucial. Evaluating how a purchase or investment might affect your future helps build a solid and secure base. This ensures you can reach your goals and live well, even when circumstances change. So, the positive impact of these decisions extends beyond the present and creates a more promising financial future.